In any business, a conflict of interest can cause serious problems. A conflict of interest happens when an employee or a business owner has personal interests that clash with their professional duties. This can make them seem untrustworthy, especially when making decisions that affect the business. When conflicts of interest are not managed properly, they can lead to biased decisions, legal trouble, and loss of trust from employees, clients, or customers. While conflicts of interest are almost unavoidable in business, the good news is that there are ways to handle them. By understanding what a conflict of interest is, creating clear policies, and promoting transparency, businesses can manage these issues effectively. What are the types of conflicts of interest? 1. Part-time jobs. An employee may have another job on the side, and if they work for a competitor or use business hours to focus on their other job, it becomes a conflict of interest. 2. Business resources. When employees use business equipment or other resources for personal reasons, like making copies of personal documents or using business tools for side projects, this can lead to conflicts. 3. Gifts. Receiving gifts from customers, suppliers, or competitors can affect decisions. For example, if an employee receives an expensive gift from a supplier, they might feel pressured to choose that supplier over others. 4. Hiring and promoting family or friends. When family or friends are hired or promoted in a business, it can lead to biased decisions. For example, an employee may be given special treatment because of their personal connection to someone in power. 5. Personal relationships. Romantic relationships between employees, especially between senior and junior staff, can create conflicts. For example, if a manager dates an employee, they may give that person special treatment. 6. Personal discounts. Getting personal discounts or deals from suppliers or clients that other employees do not have access to can be seen as a conflict of interest. 7. Directing business. Directing business to companies owned by friends or family members, instead of using the usual process, can also create conflicts. How to handle conflicts of interest. Since conflicts of interest are common, it's important to know how to handle them properly. Here are some steps businesses can take. 1. Create a clear conflict of interest policy. The first step is to have a written policy that explains what a conflict of interest is and how employees should handle it. The policy should cover the types of conflicts that can occur and give examples of behaviors that are unacceptable. It should also explain what employees should do if they find themselves in a situation where a conflict arises. For example, the policy might require employees to disclose any personal connections they have with suppliers. 2. Encourage transparency. Employees should feel comfortable disclosing potential conflicts of interest without fear of punishment. This can be done by creating a system where employees can report conflicts either online or through a form. The system should ensure confidentiality, and there should be no negative consequences for employees who report conflicts honestly. 3. Regularly update the policy. A conflict of interest policy should not be static. As the business grows and changes, new types of conflicts may arise. It's important to update the policy regularly and communicate these updates to the team. By keeping the policy current, businesses show their commitment to maintaining fairness and integrity. 4. Train employees. All employees, from entry-level workers to management, should receive training on conflicts of interest. This training should explain the definition of conflicts of interest, how they can harm the business, and how to handle situations where they may occur. Employees should also be trained on how to exercise good judgment in both their personal and professional lives to avoid conflicts. 5. Monitor relationships between employees. While banning all relationships between employees might seem like a solution, it is often impractical. Instead, businesses can put rules in place that limit conflicts of interest in such relationships. For example, a manager should never supervise their spouse or partner. Regular monitoring and open communication can help keep workplace relationships professional. 6. Get outside. Help when needed. Some conflicts of interest can be complex and difficult to manage internally. For example, if an employee reports that they are being treated unfairly by someone close to the business owner, it might be hard for the owner to stay objective. In these cases, using an outside mediator or professional can help resolve the issue fairly. What will be your role as a leader in a conflict of interest? As a business owner or leader, it is essential to set a good example. Employees will look to leadership to see how they should behave. If you avoid conflicts of interest in your own dealings, it will set the tone for the rest of the company. Make sure to apply the conflict of interest policy consistently, regardless of the situation. This builds trust and shows employees that fairness and integrity are important values in the business. After all, conflicts of interest are part of doing business, but they don't have to become a big problem. By creating a clear policy, promoting transparency, and leading by example, businesses can manage conflicts of interest effectively. Employees should feel comfortable disclosing conflicts, and management should handle these situations with fairness and integrity. When handled well, conflicts of interest can be resolved without causing lasting damage to the business. In the end, the goal is to ensure that everyone in the company acts with the highest level of honesty, putting the success of the business first, and avoiding situations where personal interests could cause harm. With the right approach, conflicts of interest can be managed smoothly, keeping the business running fairly and successfully.